Bust it.
Welcome to Political Platform on the Raypa Network, your program where we analyze political events and issues as it concerns governance, the need for good governance in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, of course on the African continent, and as it affects the global community. My name is Shola Jayesimi. It's a loaded package we have for you today, actually. Different things happening on the political turf. But before we go to what's happening politically in Nigeria, another alert has come, this time from the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. And the warning is that, will it be a repeat of the 2012 flooding across Nigeria that killed lots of people and had many homes and properties submerged in the floods? Well, the National Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency says we need to move fast, that 8 states will be affected. But even before we talk about the 8 states, even the FCT is having issues in its satellite towns with some major highways such as the Abuja-Kefi Expressway having to deal with huge flooding somewhere around the popular town around there. I'm talking about the place called Maraba. Motorists this morning coming in from that axis had a horrific time getting into the Abuja city center, just a distance of about 9-10 kilometers into Abuja. Now, it's 37 days away. Talking about the PDP's National Convention. But the aspirants for the top position, talking about the PDP ticket for the presidency, 9 of them met yesterday and said, look, we need to rub minds to know who amongst us will be formidable enough to face the incumbent, President Muhammadu Buhari of the APC, who obviously nobody has come out to challenge him. Probably a right of first refusal, as is done in the U.S. political system. So, 9 of them met. 2 were not there. Kwankwaso was there, who declared yesterday and said, this and this is what I will do if I get the ticket of the PDP to challenge President Muhammadu Buhari. Bafarawa also joined the race. He said, I have joined this race. Bafarawa, you remember him? The two-term governor of Sokoto State, who, upon leaving power in 2007, set up his own political party, the party with a pineapple at its logo. I'm talking about the DPP. Now, he's in the PDP. Don't forget that he joined the PDP sometime in the run-up to the 2015 elections and worked closely with former President Goodluck Jonathan. Even had issues with the courts, but the courts have said, with the EFCC rather, and the court said, no, you don't have any case to answer. The APC, the ruling party at the center, and in no less than 24 states, will be holding its National Executive Committee meeting today. Will direct primaries, the proposal that has been put forward and touted by many of its leaders, will it cause rancor in this party? We'll wait to find out when that meeting holds and the decisions. President Muhammadu Buhari hosted the British Prime Minister Theresa May yesterday. Discussions on various areas, agreements signed. And the president is promising, said, look, our former colonial masters, we still have a relationship, strong one. We will ensure that there are free and credible general elections. No magu-magu. That's what President Buhari has assured the UK Prime Minister. Now, to the economic scene. The Central Bank of Nigeria wielded the big stick yesterday on 4 Nigerian banks. Stanbic IBTC, Standard Chartered, Citibank, and Diamond Bank. What did they do? They're alleged to have helped, wait for it, MTN to illegally repatriate over $8 billion US. When you hear MTN, you say, what is it again? Has that company even finished paying the fine slammed on it for keeping unregistered SIMs in its system? These are some of the stories we'll be trending on this morning on the program. My name is Shola Jayesimi. It's almost a full house. I have Adebayo Bodurin here as well. Good morning.
Yeah, Shola, I think it's a day of decision for the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Impression seems to be created that they have decided to opt for direct primaries. Information available indicates that it is not so. First, they held the National Working Committee meeting. I can tell you from feelers, insiders at that meeting said the National Working Committee was divided on the issue of whether they should have direct or indirect primaries. They also proceeded to the Villa, well-attended meeting on Tuesday, which ended at exactly 11:30 p.m. And the issue was tabled. And I can also tell you there were those who also kicked against it. And so the final decision will be taken today. It's on record that the 14 governors in the north are opposed to direct primaries. Instead, they favor indirect primary. Direct primary is a situation where all members of the party who are card-carrying members will vote. And the indirect primary is where you have delegates that will decide who will be the standard bearers of the party. The 14 governors, even if at the next meeting today, the Northeast leaders, people from the Northeast leader are opposed to direct primaries on the basis of insecurity. The same reason is also being cited by the governors from the north, that there are issues of insecurity and the cost effectiveness of conducting either direct or indirect primary. To them, indirect primary will be cost effective, while direct primary will entail huge sums of money. And even those from the south, apart from the governor of Ogun State, who does not mind whether it is direct or indirect primaries. Ibukule Amusun. I can tell you the governor of Oyo, the governor-elect of Ekiti, and that of Ondo are opposed to direct primaries. So it's a day of decision for the party. But the national leader of the party, top chieftain, Bola Tinubu, and the national chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, with active support of the president, are supporting direct primaries.
That's what they've been pushing.
Yeah, that's what they are pushing. But majority, top figures are opposed to it. So we watch out how the next meeting we hold today and what decision they will eventually take.
Uju Ejeye is also on the program. Uju, welcome.
Thank you, Shola. Shola, I think those who argue for in favor of direct primaries, know what they are talking about. Because when you talk about indirect primaries, you're talking about delegates made up majorly of appointees of government. And usually it turns out in the favor of the governors or who the governors favor. Because, I mean, a situation where you saw the time of OBJ as a president of this country, when you had delegates,
almost
a retinue of special advisors and special assistants, and they were all delegates. The same thing the governors do. Although it also has its merits, but when you look at direct primaries, I think that it's a way of giving power to the people, where the members of the party are the ones queuing to elect who their representatives will be in any election. In a way, it gives them a sense of ownership of the party. It's not a situation where some people are selected, but again, it has its own drawbacks. And I think one of the major drawbacks is that most of our political parties do not have an authentic register of members. In other words, people can also be imported from several other places. We've seen the situation where the same people queue for APC, queue for ADC, queue for PDP. And so I think that that's what the political parties should be looking at, working at getting, knowing who their real members are, and then you can begin to build on that.
The constitution of APC itself is clear. They have 3 ways of picking their standard bearer for elections. Indirect primary, direct primary, even consensus is also in their constitution. So it does seem as if they have 3 options they will probably canvass for and probably adopt at the end of their meeting today, against the background of the deep division over the issue of direct primaries.
Amechi, let me quickly take you up on the CBN issue as a political economist. What's the implication of this?
Well, there were some infractions by the banks. The CBN said they did extensive investigations and have slammed the fines. violating certain rules and regulations. And the CBN, as you know, is one of the most protected, most independent CBNs across the world. The amendment to the CBN Act by Olusegun Obasanjo administration, I think it was one of the last documents he signed as a president, gave a lot of independence to the CBN, insulating it from a political interference, and that explains why the CBN is always on top of their game. But beyond that, talking about direct primaries and indirect primaries, it was what they used, the APC used in Osun State to pick their governorship candidate, I think Oyetola. It was an experiment, and we hailed the party for being brave enough to allow the people to take charge for the first time. My colleagues have enumerated the merits and demerits, but the governors will tell you insecurity, and like Uji pointed out, their own appointees will make up the highest category of non-statutory delegates to vote, and they want control. If they are talking about insecurity, would there still not be insecurity during the main election on February 16 and March 2nd? Would there not be insecurity? Will elections not even take place across the length and breadth of the country? We'll wait for the APC to take a decision, but I will pledge and I plead with them to continue to show the light by adopting direct primaries. I'm talking about the APC. You know, it held its national caucus meeting yesterday at the Asura Presidential Villa, Abuja, ahead of today's National Executive Committee meeting. That Tuesday night up to the early morning of Wednesday. Now, I noticed one trend. There were several former PDP governors who have defected to the APC. Several of them. I tried
who we least expected.
Now, Emmanuel Udwanya of Delta State. You have Sullivan Chime of Enugu State. You have Governor Sumbo of Edo State. You have Ali Modu Sheriff, who was a governor under APP. Then so many of them. You have Goswela Babio. So many of them. I wonder what is it in there for former governors. They all defected. All of them. Jim Wobodo then, former governor of Old Anambra State, also defecting. But there was one a statement from a media organization yesterday, purportedly coming from the sacked DG of DSS, Lawa Daura, and he said that the decision to carry out a blockade of the National Assembly was not his decision alone. Right. It was a collective decision involving the heads of sister security agencies. Now, the narrative before now has been that it was Daura's call. That explains why. Or
that the National Assembly leadership was involved.
Influenced him. And part of the statement yesterday said the man is so disgusted, so distraught, so
flabbergasted,
that after having served this country for so long, coming from the same district Daura with the president, some people will try to paint him as one who will, of course, sell out his boss. But he says it's good. That was what the statement said. Sometimes heads of security agencies are used as sacrificial lambs. But beyond that, he can accept that. But what he will not accept is some people trying to tag him a traitor, selling off the man that appointed him. Now, that statement, we don't know how true it is, whether it came directly from Daura or through some of his associates, like it pointed out. But we expect the government to also come up with their own rejoinder to that. Because if you take a look at the IG's report on that incident that he sent to the acting president, then he said, the report said it was only the call of Daura. It was only his decision to take that action.
We'll take a short break, then we'll hear from you on what you feel about the program via our emails.
Right, welcome to the mail segment. I am Etenikang Akepu. We begin with a mail from Henry Ewunono in Garki, Abuja. He writes on Senator Kwankwaso being denied the use of public facilities. He says, fellow Nigerians, I've been introspecting on the reasons why Senator Kwankwaso was denied the use of both the Eagle Square and the old parade ground. I'm thinking that such decision robbed the federal government the opportunity of priding herself with the democratic credentials of tolerance for the opposition. more so in the wake of the visit of the leaders of two world powers. And it goes on to say, now that the federal government and the FCTA have denied knowledge and blame it on facility managers, Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo should please come to the rescue by sacking whoever is the brain behind this unpopular action. And lastly for today is a mail from Bashir Kanabi from Agenebode in Edo State. He titles this, My Country, Nigeria. He goes on to say, it saddens my heart to hear for the second time in 1 year that my country, Nigeria, the then giant of Africa, is now being tagged one of the countries housing highest number of poor people in the world. And this is practically the truth, irrespective of who the statement is credited to. The present government is always quick at blaming the past administration over such issues, which I know they will do soon, even after over 3 years of their governance. Does it mean that they don't have solutions to any of Nigerians' problems apart from blaming the past administration? It's really sad we keep saying this. Nigerians are hungry, dying of hunger, high cost of living coupled with empty pockets, no jobs anywhere. Finding food to eat is not an easy thing down here. Each time I think about this, I weep. Our government should wake up. It is really dehumanizing, and life is not easy to live in this part of the world under this administration. They should stop chasing shadows, stop attacking politically perceived enemies, and face the Nigerian economy. With a deep heart of concern, I write this. And this is how we draw the curtain on the mail segment. Keep sending your mails to Political Platform at raypower.fm.
Welcome back to Political Platform on the Ray Power Network. Yes, you heard some of the reactions by the listeners there on different issues. Let's go back to our discussion on talking about party politics. Let's appraise, colleagues, the situation in the PDP. Senate President Bukola Saraki, who threw his hat into the ring about 2 weeks ago, speaking to Bloomberg, the international media outlet, he said, look, I'm also in this race to better the lot of Nigerians. And they met yesterday, about 9 of them, for a couple of hours, and they came out with this position that, look, although some of these things happen, when people sit down, discuss, agree, then others go and do other things in the background, that, look, we need to come up with a united front. Can we look at some of these candidates? We tried doing that yesterday. We spoke about Senator David Jang, as I knew him as a young boy.
Jonah Jang.
No, David. I remember. Group Captain David Jang, when he was governor of Benue, then he
Military
moved to
governor.
Exactly, 84 to about 86, 87. Now, can we look at these candidates? Aspirants, rather.
I would like to say at this point in time that before we look at the candidates, that it is imperative, it's very, very important that the PDP gets it right, even in picking who its candidate would be. We've had this kind of scenario before. I remember before the December convention, when aspirants to the national chairmanship of the party were meeting. In fact, they were meeting even in each other's houses. They all pledged to work towards the unity of the party, the well-being of the party, and maybe most of them had good intentions, only for a unity list to appear at the end of the day and destroy whatever gains there was. Because now we're seeing the ripple effect of what happened at that convention. Some of those people have recently defected to the APC. If you go to Lagos, it happened over there. It is still happening. People like Chief Mrs. Remi Adiku and a whole lot of...
A strong PDP stalwart way back.
Yes, and these are people who actually built up the PDP, even though some of them came in from the then APP. And you see, they have to be very, very careful that it does not happen. While you are asking your aspirants to be sincere in whatever they are doing and to put the party and the nation first, don't come through the back door with an action that will destroy whatever gains you can.
That's one advantage the APC has over the PDP for now. Is only President Muhammad Buhari. One of the stalwarts of the APC told me he's a presumptive candidate. And there's no other stalwart that will dare announce his or her intention to run against the president. So he's as much as settled. There are some others, what we call small fries, and those seeking relevance. But in the PDP, their problem. 12 of them now publicly declared to go for it. We are still waiting for the governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwa, to also throw his hat in the ring. The PDP has said October 5 and 6 is the date for their presidential primary. So they have a huge number to contend with, and the leadership is aware of it, that they can't just say, let's go to town and struggle for vote. The party will be bruised so much that it will not recover. And these are big men with oversized ego. So there's every need for the party to manage them. And I think the meeting they held yesterday with the aspirants is one that will help to douse tensions. That unity list may still come up in another form, because I don't think any party will want to just throw it open like that, and even your opponents may want to catch in and put in some people and sponsor and put you under a lot of stress. So the party has to do that. But we know there are pretenders and there are contenders. In Nigeria, part of your resume, what makes your CV rich is a former candidate. Aspirant. Some people even say former aspirant.
Yeah, I've seen that on a complimentary card.
Yeah, so it improves resume and CV. So a lot of people go into it, State House of Assembly, House of Representatives, candidates, aspirants, name them, they do it. But for the PDP, they know there are the contenders and the pretenders. The contenders have the backing of the
big wigs in the party.
The godfathers, we call them. Like what we have now, we will not mention names. The old generals, godfathers are on one side, the younger elements, some of them governors on the other side. So there's a great pull from both ends. But the critical thing for PDP among all these people hoping to pick the ticket is someone who will give the president a good run for his money, especially in the northwest. Someone, even if he doesn't win the northwest, will get a good chunk of the vote. That's the strength of the president. The strength of the president lies in the northwest, where he's hoping to have a clean sweep. If the PDP gets someone that will prevent that, then his days are as good as numbers. Then the other critical factor is the west. Maybe we don't know where to go, but slightly to the APC. But the PDP, the southeast, we know where the southeast stands.
Political
that's the only geopolitical zone that can guarantee the PDP a bulk vote. For the south, the PDP has an edge, but with some movements, some defections, maybe they were able to scrap something for the APC.
Adebayo Boduri, see the way political analysts has analyzed this thing. What's your perspective?
Well, you see, in 1998, PDP came, and it was a big party. No matter which way you look at it, compare with AD and APP then, it was a very, very big party. And the number of aspirants they have now is almost equal to the number of aspirants they have. Those who just stood for the sole presidential ticket in Jos.
In Jos, yes.
A convention that lasted for 3 days before voting and counting and all the rest. You have the late Ekweme, you have Jim Obodo, you have Abubakar Remi, was never prevailed upon to step aside, and you have others. You have Graham Douglas. So it was really a crowd. But at the end of it all, Obasanjo picked the ticket, and one remarkable thing that happened then was that immediately they picked the ticket, and then contrary to the opinion of and what the other party leaders were pushing, he single-handedly picked Atiku as his running mate, and it succeeded. Even when Ekweme was asked to go and seek for a senatorial seat so that he can become the Senate president, he turned it down. He said, "I'm a party man,
I will abide,"
and he remained a party man till he died. And so all of them came together and supported Obasanjo to the extent that he had an overwhelming victory across the country. But can that thing happen now? We they subsume their ambition and their ego after the primaries? That is the big problem that I think the party will face.
Let's close this conversation this morning, today's program, with this issue about Juju. I'll pose this to you. The Udwan has defection. Is it a case of personal ambition? Because he had eyed the Delta South senatorial seat, and James Manager, who had been there since 2003, said, "Look, I need to go back." He did that in 2015. And now Udwaha is just surprisingly moving to the APC. You know the tripod upon which Delta South rest, the Ijaw, the Shekiri, and the Urobo. Is this a personal ambition?
Also there.
Yes.
And the Kaibos in the south.
No, he's talking about Delta South. That's towards Ugborodo, Big Worry, Ogbejo. So, okay, if I may answer your question, now you see that if you look at the body language of Udwanga and the current governor of Delta State, Okowa, you notice that somehow they don't have a very charming relationship. And I recall that during the primaries that produced this current set of representatives from Delta State, almost all his candidates were defeated. Effectively,
that's Udwaha.
Udwaha's candidate by Okowa's people and those who were just riding under his cover. Exactly, the key godfather. And that sort of put a wedge between their relationship. So I think that looking at the situation, he probably feels, look, there's no way I can really push forward, with being in the PDP camp. His own interest.
So personal
exactly,
ambition.
his personal ambition pushing him to, move to the APC. Maybe he can now use federal might, since those people have state might. That's what most of them are saying now. And I think that the PDP should look at also the primary that produced the current president in 2015, because you had contenders like this too. Some of them even part of the contenders in the PDP now heavyweights. And the APC adopted, direct primary. And it was so clear that the winner that emerged was the winner of that presidential primary. I think that the PDP should look at that.
The discussions, the analysis, and every other thing as it affects Nigeria, governance, development, politics will definitely continue on your program. Join us tomorrow, the last edition for the month of August. My name is Shola. On behalf of the team, have a lovely day.
Bust it.